My name is Chuchu Nwagu, graduated from Roehampton in 2017, studied Theology and Religious Studies, and after graduating I did 1 year as VP Community and Welfare in the Students Union and my second year as Student Union President. So I left Roehampton Students Union and decided that I wanted to sort of stay in the higher education sector. I think a natural trajectory for quite a few sabbatical officers is to stay in student unions. So I moved to UWL Students Union and did just under a year there, or just over a year there. And then it was in the midst of the pandemic. And in that moment, I sort of started to think, what do I want to do with life, particularly after all that 2020 gave us? And I think for me, it was a case of, I had always been interested in the arts, I'd always been interested in the entertainment industry. And while there was that lull with theatres being closed, with film and TV also being affected, I was like, let me just see what opportunities there might be out there, and spent periods of time networking in the pandemic, but even previously before the pandemic, I was still networking. So the first opportunity that I got in January of 2020 was to work on Amelie in the West End, which was again through somebody who I had met years prior, and that opportunity came out. So it was again this really weird, okay, I know what my future is going to hold, I'm going to stay in student unions, potentially, rise to the top, be a chief executive of the Students Union, to actually I want to go and do something completely different, away from my degree, away from the job I've been doing for 2.5 years, and just embrace myself in this world that I love. And yeah, here I am in the theatre industry calling myself a producer. At the moment I'm working on The Wiz, which is a revival of the classic musical, but also it was turned into a film in the 80s starring Diana Ross and Michael Jackson, and we're reviving it here in the UK for the first time in 10 years, and that's happening at the Roehampton Theatre in Manchester, again, which is really exciting. It's a show and a musical that I've known for many years, and always in the back of my head was like, I really want to do this if I had the opportunity. And again, the stars aligned and everything just worked out perfectly. So I'm doing that. I'm also doing a co-producer on the Dreamgirls UK tour, which kicked off last month, December. And again, with that comes a mind-boggling experience. Dreamgirls, again, through the film was my first experience of that. The songs and the story, and I'd always wanted to get involved and do it. And again, things just aligned perfectly at the same time that I was able to get involved in that. Moulin Rouge in the West End. I'm also did a bit on Get Up, Stand Up for the new Bob Marley musical in the West End, The Mirror and the Light in the West End. So again, in the space of how long, it feels like I've just really jumped into so many different pots and pies, which is exciting. It is exciting. It's nice to have that variety, and I think all the shows are different in their different ways, but also aligned with myself and the stories I like to tell and the tables I like to be sat around as well. Yeah, I do. And I think the hardest thing is you spend so many years of your life there, as a student, but then I was fortunate enough to have 2 extra years that I was able to spend there. And I ran in the first place because of my love for Roehampton. I think that love never dies. You could have the most greatest experience, you could have the worst experience, but it's still a place that formed you for how many years. So I do miss it, and I still follow it on social media, try to keep up with everything that's going on and support where I can, as ultimately, just because I'm no longer there, I still believe my affinity with Roehampton is still as strong as it was when I was there. So yeah. I think there are so many different spots for different reasons, but I will always remember the lake, and there was a bench by the lake, and I always used to sit there. And I think for me, the reason why it's my favourite spot was there was a day I was having a really, really bad day, and I just needed somewhere to go and sit and to cry, and it was a period just before the student union elections happened where I ran for VP. And I remember someone coming to sit next to me, and they were like, I don't know what the future holds for you, but it's going to be very bright, and what's going to happen in the next couple of months for you, it's going to be really amazing. And I remember that day so poignantly. In my head I was like, I don't know what this future that they're talking about holds. And, a couple of months later, there I am being elected as Student Union President. And I think for me, that day is a day that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. So if I had to say I had a favourite spot, it would be there. And even when I was just having a good day, I'd always just go and sit there because it would just give me that boost I needed. I think I have always been a people person. I think whether it was my time as a student, my time as VP, Student Union President, moving to UWR Students Union, even in the work I do now, it's very people orientated. And I think Roehampton's ethos on community, whether it's through the college system, whether it's through societies, in whatever way you meet and encounter people, you embrace yourself into this world where you get to know other people, you get to know their lives, you get to know their culture, you immerse yourself in the complexities of society. Sometimes, for so many students at Roehampton, that's the first time they've been in a space with so many different people, so many different intersections, demographics in this one place. And it taught me a lot. It really did taught me a lot. It taught me how to appreciate people, but also taught me the beauty of people's stories and their narratives. And being in the world I am in now, where theatre is all about portraying a story, about telling a narrative. It could be a narrative of a songbook based on the life of an artist. It could be a real life story. It could be a book, but that book has influences of in some way, shape or form. And, for me, it's all about just looking at what is that rich diversity and who are those people. And a lot of those people, some days when I sit down and look at stories, I'm in rooms, I'm like, if it hadn't been for what Roehampton gave me, what Roehampton instilled in me, I don't think I would be half the person I am now. And being in a position of being a producer where essentially you're there to steer the ship, you're there to bring people together in the good times and the bad times. And being Student Union President, being VP wasn't easy. There were times where students had high expectations of you and you were required to steer that ship. And that experience in my time as a student and as working in the Students Union has definitely translated into the work I'm doing now. So I do owe Roehampton a lot. Embrace yourself and the experience. I think 3 years at university goes by so quickly, even 4 years for some people. I think you spend your first year sort of getting to know the scenery, sort of finding your feet. Second year comes, third year comes, and then it goes. And I'm like, explore every aspect of Roehampton. Had it not been going to an AGM that the Student Union ran, and knowing that actually the Student Union is this political organisation, it's this, I would have never really believed that there was this opening. And had it not been them creating this space that students could talk, I would have never raised that first point, and I would have never had the SABs come up to me and be like, have you before running for an officer position? So I will really say embrace the experience, but also embrace people. The people you meet at university shape and form you for the rest of your lives, even people you don't eventually end up talking to in future. It's one of those really weird experiences where you're just thrusted in this space with anybody and anyone. It might as well be Big Brother without the cameras, and you sort of have to navigate this really strange world of, I'm in a flat with people I don't know, someone's stealing my cutlery, do I talk, do I not talk, oh my milk, all of those sorts of things. And I think I learnt how to be me, and I would like to say the best version of me through those experiences at Roehampton. And you meet people who, some are great, but also some will be challenging in your time as a student. And when you go out into the world of work, when you go out into the real world, you will meet those kind of people as well. But having that experience under your belt to be like, yeah, actually, when this happened with so and so forth, this is how I handled it. So in the workplace, in circle of friends outside of university, it's all translatable. So, I wish I had embraced the university experience a lot earlier than I did. I think it was probably late second year, early third year that I really embraced myself. But that whole of first year, didn't really go out, didn't really see events, really didn't do much extracurriculars, lectures, go home, sleep, eat, watch a bit of TV, and that was it. And I completely forgot that there was this world inside Roehampton, both whether it was the Union Bar, Digby Square, the Quad, Whiteland. I think there's so much about Roehampton which it's so beautiful, and Roehampton is such an iconic landmark because of its rich diversity and its rich history. and there's always something that you can learn from its surroundings. So, yeah. Good question. I would like to say retired on a yacht somewhere, but let's be realistic. What would I be doing in 10 years' time? Or what would I like to be doing in 10 years' time? This sounds so very me in all sense. I just like to continue making a difference. You know, I think ultimately, as long as I know I can have an impact, even if it's an impact on one person, or on 10 people, on 20 people, you know. When I was student union president, I always spoke about creating this world that all of us can be proud of, and it's little changes that we all make that create this world that we all are proud of and we want to see. I think even in the work I'm doing now, you know, the theatre industry has been hit heavily through the pandemic. It's recovering, but there's so many things about the theatre industry that need updating, that need modernising, that need changing. And oftentimes it can be, oh, but leave it to the next person. But I think my journey through student unions has taught me that actually sometimes you need to take ownership and really do that work yourself and really advocate and push for the change that you want to see. So I think as long as I can continue making change, as long as I can still be of value to people. I was saying to someone the other day that I am really fortunate to be in a position of a producer where I can create opportunities for other people. And you know, so many people have this massive dream, I want to be an actress, I want to do this, and you know, sometimes they don't know the trajectory in. I'm like, if I can be that person that unlocks that door to help someone realise their potential and achieve their dreams, then if that's what I'm doing in 10 years time, then it will make me happy. And you know, I think that's what everything I've done as student union president, I was like, I'm only as good as the students behind me. In this world that I'm in now, I'm only as good as the people that I'm working with and the people that are getting opportunities off the back of it as well.